The Department of Agriculture proudly reports compliance is now high on the maximum suggested retail price imposed on rice. Just this Monday, rice MSRP has been lessened to 45 pesos from 49 pesos per kilo. But according to DA Deputy Spokesperson Joycel Panlilio, they've seen some retailers selling it for even lower prices. The struggle, though, is with pork, where only 30% complied so far with the MSRP set at 350 to 380 pesos per kilo. DA is now coming up with a system to track prices from the hog farms to retailers, which will be displayed in cards to be posted in Metro Manila markets. And on top of this, the department is also now considering imposing MSRP on garlic and eggs. They're still studying why garlic prices are now reaching 160 pesos per kilo. As with egg prices, which increased to more than a peso per piece, the DA blames the hot temperature causing deaths of egg-laying chickens and the high demand this election season. And to mahalang itlog dahil election. To discuss this further, we have with us, we hope to have with us Assistant Secretary Arnel De Mesa, spokesperson of the Department of Agriculture via Zoom. Unfortunately, he has declined, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we have with us a former Agriculture Secretary, Leonardo Montemayor. Oh, he is now on Zoom. Okay. All right. Well, okay. Thank you, sir.
Oh, there he is.
Magandang gabi. And we have with us the former Agriculture Secretary Leonardo Montemayor, also former party list representative. And he is now the board chairman of the Federation of Free Farmers here in the studio. Magandang gabi sa inyong dalawa, sir.
Good evening.
First of all, successful po ba itong MSRP on the point of the farmers' side?
Medyo it's placing an undue burden on them. Kasi pag masyadong mababa yung MSRP, pagkakaroon po ng effect on the buying price for palay. Right now, a lot of farmers are complaining the price for palay at farm gate is extraordinarily low. It's at 14 or 15 pesos per kilo. That's below the break-even price.
So the farmers are being hit while consumers may be feeling some
kind of relief. That's right. And my own feeling is that DA should be giving a lot more attention to the producer side, palay. Total, we've seen so many efforts on the part of the government to bring down the retail prices. Unfortunately, they have not worked. Remember in July of last year, the tariff rates on imported rice were brought down from 35% to 15% per kilo. And there was a promise that retail prices for rice would go to as low as by about 7 pesos per kilo. It did not happen, and that is why perhaps that's the reason why Secretary Kiko is taking up the cudgels by imposing all sorts of MSRPs, especially on rice.
Pagsalitiin naman natin, sir, ang Agriculture Department para ano pong response ninyo?
Yes, good evening, Ses and ladies. Magandang gabi po sa lahat ng taga-subaybay. While it is true during or after the reduction of tariff as per EO 62, July of 2023, hindi natin agad naramdaman yung immediate na pagbaba ng presyo as expected. And as per the official report ng PSA, may pagbaba pero talagang mabagal. And nagkaroon talaga ng implementasyon ng MSRP. And aside from sa MSRP, nagkaroon din ng masigasig na pagbabantay sa smuggling, sa hoarding and profiteering. Kaya nakita natin na malaki yung binaba ng presyo ng bigas after ng implementation ng MSRP. We can recall that the department started with the issuance of MSRP at 58 pesos per kilo. And just recently, last March 31, we reduced it further to 45 pesos per kilo. Nung mga unang MSRP natin, mataas ang level of compliance up to 90%. It started very slow, kagaya nitong 45. Our level of compliance is about 50 to 60%. But eventually, it will go as high as, again, 80 to 90%. So there are a lot of significant changes in presyo ng palay assets.
Okay, so pretty much yun nga rin yung sinasabi ni DA Secretary Kiko no, na sabi niya na-bother kasi ako dun sa sinabi ni Leonie na yung farm gate price ng palay ay bumaba. So kung nasa below 20 pesos tayo sa farm gate price ng palay, ano pa yung point no nung food security emergency, yung pagbebenta ng NFA sa buffer stock? Meron pa ba tayong aasahan na ani para ilagay dun sa mga warehouse? Kasi una na lang siguro, Asec, no, may katotohanan ba na mabagal daw yung uptake nung gina-get rid of natin na buffer stock ng rice sa NFA warehouses?
Totoo yun, hindi ganun kabilis yung paglabas or pagbili ng mga local governments. Kasi we're very tied yung ating mga kamay, ang department, as per the rice tarification law as amended, very limited yung pwedeng pagbentahan ng NFA. Kaya we're asking na magkaroon talaga ng revisions nitong nasabing batas. As of today, talagang very small kumpara doon sa inaasahan natin na 600,000 bags per month. Sa ngayon, wala pang 20,000 bags yung nare-release ng NFA. So, we're really hoping. Ang primary reason, of course, ngayon, election, very limited ang available funds ng NFA, ng LGUs, I mean. And at the same time, of course, LGUs may sarili-riling silang decision which the DA cannot control.
Well, Asec, nabanggit naman po ng Agriculture Department na plano nyo pong i-recommend sa Pangulo ang pagbalik sa taripa nga sa rice. And I just wanted to ask Leonie also, no, gaano ba po importante yung pag-reinstate doon sa mga rice tariffs at 35%?
Very important po yan kasi if you remember, during the Quinta Committee hearings in the House of Representatives, the NEDA representative there, under oath, said that one of the severe impacts of the low tariffs under EO 62 was the decline in palay prices by about, if I remember correctly, 17%. So malaki yun. Samantalang yung decline daw sa rice retail prices because of the reduction in tariff was only about 2%. So it's not working. Plus the fact that government has lost a lot of revenue by our estimates. It's about 18 billion pesos since the EO took effect in July of last year. That was supposed to go into a competitiveness enhancement fund for rice farmers to improve their productivity and production. That was lost. And who really benefited from this reduction in tariff? It's really a few importers and traders. Yeah.
Do you believe there's a rice cartel po?
Yeah, I would say there is in terms of monopolizing the profits from this reduction in tariff. If that is defined as a cartel, to me, there's a cartel, but it's really more profiteering perhaps.
Cartel-like activity.
Kasi sabi nyo 40% is cornered by a few. About 14.
The top 10 or so importers, they account for about 40% of total rice imports. So sila yung malaking pakinabang dito sa
Did you answer Palapawi's question because nag-interrupt ako?
Yes, in-answer naman. Pero yung 14, yung palay prices na bumabagsak, parang at some point umabot yun ng 24 almost 24 pesos. But ngayon 14 na lang. What is the root cause of that plunge?
It's really the policy enshrined in the law, the rice tarification law, which is unlimited importation at any time. You know, when that law was not yet there, I remember when I was DA Secretary, we were always very careful, although NFA had the monopoly on decisions to import. We were always very careful not to make a decision to import or to allow imports to come in during harvest period.
Parang ano yun, no?
Kasi we were very...
Pag harvest time, di syempre, ang daming bigas. Kasi nag-import ka na, meron pang...
Yeah, so...
Kaya dapat babaan yung import
or ban
season.
imports during that time.
Harvest period. Actually, under the existing law, may kapangyarihan naman ng gobyerno to impose a temporary ban on imports during harvest time to protect our local producers. Unfortunately, it has not done so. So on the other hand naman, it seems to me that government is sometimes going overboard to, with all these MSRPs and all this decongestion of NFA warehouses to sell, to the LGUs, NFA rice at a much lower rate. So ang daming mga kilos para tulungan yung consumers po natin, which is good. But on the other hand, medyo nakakalimutan yata yung ating mga farmers. Sana during harvest period, wag sanang isabay yung pag-aangkat kasabay po ng ating mga pag-harvest po ng ating farmers. And then we have to recognize also the fact that the international prices of rice have been going down very much.
Exactly. We're supposed to be feeling, I think that's what we're feeling.
Bakit ganun?
Kaya nga, so...
O sige, tanungin natin siya.
sige.
Asec, if we can get your reaction, yes, to that.
Tama yun, malaki na yung binaba ng preso sa international market. Actually, kaisa ng ni former Secretary Leonie ang DA na magkaroon ng pagbalik doon sa taripa, but ang recommendation natin ay gradual kasi we don't want to cause ng biglaan naman na pagtaas din ng presyo ng bigas sa merkado while we are really pushing na maibaba yung presyo, yung MSRP. But sa ngayon, we're sticking muna sa 45 kasi epektuhan yung
bakit
farm gate.
nag-i-import po pag panahon ng ani?
Ano kasi, ang rice tarification law kasi wala naman sinabi doon kung kailan pwedeng itigil o hindi. It's ano kasi, inalis yung quantitative restrictions at it's highly privatized. Walang role ang government sa importation. At ang isa pang provision doon, pag merong nag-apply at hindi yun na-aksyonan at okay naman yung papers, it is deemed approved in 7 days. Isa yan sa mga nakasaad sa batas, says. So ganun katindi ang naging application nitong rice tarification law.
I have to disagree with Asec Arnel on that point. The government is not helpless. For one thing, the law allows the president to impose a temporary ban on imports. When the imports is, hurting our farmers seriously, if he doesn't want to ban imports, the government can impose what are called safeguard duties. In other words, dadagdagan natin yung tariff rates, yung buwis, in order to make importations of rice more expensive. So it can do that, but why is it not doing that? And then plus the fact that ayaw nilang ibalik sa 35% yung tariff rates. Gusto na yata ng DA gradual daw. Gradual ibalik. But farmers are already dying. Break even or lower than break even yung presyo po ng palay.
Are there suicide cases you mentioned?
Yeah, there is at least one documented case of a farmer committing suicide. I think this is in Barangay Faigal in Gimba, Nueva Ecija. He's actually a farm worker because he shares, he does practically all the work on the farm, but he gets only about a 10% share from the harvest. So that's a very small figure. Then plus the fact that the price of palay has been dropping below break-even rates, talagang desperado yung tao na yon.
Okay. And a lot of people would say, this goes both to you former Sec and also to Asec, na dapat talaga may mahuli kasi up to now, ito paulit-ulit na lang, wala pa tayong nahuhuling isang big time like a smuggler or someone who's manipulating prices, ayaw natin tawaging cartel. Pero bakit nga ba ganun ba kahirap huliin? Sometimes I feel like people already know who these characters are. And it's almost like we're skirting around the subject and dodging it. And,
Sa side ng farmers natin, bakit gradual yung pagbalik ng original tariff rate to 35? We already know farmers are hurting very much from the low prices exacerbated by the entry of imports, precisely because imports had become cheaper. because of low tariffs. And then we want to do the increase in protection slowly. Namamatay na yung tao, slowly pa. Kawawa naman yung magsaka natin na at patuloy po yung kanilang paghihirap po dito.
I think I heard Asec
Yes.
saying
Yeah.
something. Yes,
Yes.
Asec.
On the part ng DA, actually marami ng importers ang tinanggalan ng lisensya ng Bureau of Plant Industry na makapag-import uli. At may mga nakasuhan na actually at marami na ring nahuli ang aming inspection and inspectorate office sa
Ilan
mga
po?
ganitong
Ilan?
problema. Kaya marami nang nakasuhan. At doon naman, ayoko sanang pag-usapan yung issue ng nagpakamatay. Pero if I got it correct, nagkaroon na ng resulta ang NBI regarding this na pinasungalingan yung nasabing allegation. But I don't want to further elaborate that kasi gusto lang namin na makiramay doon sa mga namatayan. And doon naman sa presyo, while may mga reported talaga, we admit na 14, 15 pesos. At ayon na rin sa pag-aaral, para doon sa tuyong palay, ang maganda talaga nasa level ng 20 hanggang 22 pesos para talaga maganda sa mga farmers yan. But I also would like to point out yung huling report ng PhilRice na kung saan yung gastusin ng mga farmers on average is nasa mga 13 pesos 50 centavos per kilo. Ang pinakamababa niya reported sa Nueva Ecija at 11.50. Mayroong mga lugar na 18 pesos but on average is 13.50. At malaki yung subsidiya din ng ating pamahalaan. We're providing a lot of inputs in terms sa mga binhi, sa fertilizer, sa mga machineries. At meron pa tayong programa dun sa agri-puhunan and pantawid program. So more than half the budget ng Department of Agriculture ay napupunta sa rice program, and we are being accused nga na DA's budget is so rice-centric at nalilimutan yung ibang commodities, while we are doing a lot doon sa ibang commodities. But there have been a lot of interventions. Yung nabanggit kanina na RCEP, sa ngayon, nasa 30 billion yan dito sa amenda ng tariffication law, yung Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. At ano yan, every year for the next 6 years. Thank you.
Well, Asec, we also wanted to ask you, after rice and pork, ano pa ba yung mga susunod na commodities na magkakaroon ng MSRP? Kasama po ba dyan ang bawang, ang itlog at manok?
Sa ngayon, Pauline, ang tinitingnan ay yung sa bawang muna kasi yung huling report na nakita natin at nung nag-ikot din kami sa Mega Q-Mart, nakita natin na nasa 160 hanggang 200 yung presyo ng bawang, yung iba nasa 140. Base sa pag-aaral natin, yung landed cost niyan is 80 pesos. So masyadong mataas kung ibebenta ng 160. At 95% kasi ng ating pangangailangan or yung consumption ay imported na bawang at 5% lang yung local. So very important na makita rin talaga natin itong cost structure ng bawang at mapigilan yung sobrang pag-abuso sa presyo nito, lalo na sa retail.
Really curious lang. Very quickly, just your thoughts on rice tariffication law. Dapat ba nating ibalik dun sa original form, dun sa amendment?
Well, it has to undergo at the very least major amendments. Among others, the role of the NFA. Government is still practically helpless in protecting the price for farmers. And on the consumer side, it has to declare an emergency first before it can unload NFA rice. So I think that NFA portion of the RTL should be, I think, thoroughly re-examined.
So ibalik ang regulatory powers.
And yet you said, and Asec said, half of the DA budget is on rice.
Oo, kaya lang, okay, malaki ang budget talaga for rice, pero it's being negated by the policy of unlimited importation, and which results in very low prices of pork palay.
And I didn't realize we import 90% of our garlic. My gosh.
95.
What do we produce?
Kaya nga.
Garlic
Matabang.
is life. Garlic
Matabang
is
yung
life.
garlic na imported. For me, mas
Oo
gusto
nga
ko yung atin, pero ang hirap niya hanapin. Ang
At
hirap.
ang liliit.
Oo.
Pero mas
Pero gusto ko yung maliit.
So, well, we thank you so much and talagang hindi kasya ang maikling panahon para sa ano. So, we'll see you again, sir.
Sure.
Hopefully. Leonie, and of course, Assistant Secretary Arnel De Mesa, spokesperson of the Department of Agriculture, former Agriculture Secretary Leonardo, Montemayor of the Federation of Free Farmers